Hi everybody, it's Carlos. I just got back from YCS Bogota. I literally got to my apartment at 1 a.m. the night before, and I had work today. So I am very tired, my hair is all frizzy as you can see, but I wanted to bring out a deck profile for the deck that I played at the main event and at the Giant Card Tournament. Now, I didn't do as well as I wanted to at the main event. I did make it to day 2, but I was knocked out at round 10 after a soul-crushing defeat to Ash, Lava Golem, and Right Sus 2 games in a row. What can you do? It was very demoralizing, but I did pick myself back up and sign up for the Giant Card, which I ended up getting 2nd place at. So, I will be having a Giant Card here in the back very soon as Konami ships it to me. Apparently there was some manufacturing error at YCS Bogota. If you were there, you know about it. And the Giant Cards were misprinted. So they're going to ship it to me instead. The choices were BLS Legendary Swordsman and the Dark Fluid Firewall Dragon. I begged the Konami rep to please send me the BLS Legendary Swordsman because I think it is much cooler. So hopefully that's the one they sent me. And when it does arrive, I'll be able to have it in the back to make me look like a more official yugituber. Before getting started with the deck profile, I'd just like to say thank you so much for 260 subscribers. I'm really happy of all the support. Thank you. And now that I am back, I'll be able to work on those Exosister replay analysis videos I promised. So expect one on tomorrow and expect one on Friday. They'll be covering the Week 8 MCS, all the way from Swiss to the finals. So without further ado, let's get started. I would like to preface the deck profile by saying that a lot of the cards have not changed, and so I'll be speeding through most of the cards and only talking about a few choices. For starters, I have Best Boy and my 3 best girls, Siren, Halfness, and Merly. They are accompanied by 3 copies of Tearlament Kashtira and 1 Fenrir. One cool thing you can do with Tearlament Kashtira is blank your opponent's Bastille. So if your opponent is trying to Bastille you, you can chain Tearlament Kashtira and banish the Tearlament name that they targeted. That will keep the Bastille in their hand. Normally this isn't that great, but if you're going for an OTK line, getting that body to not stick to their field and stick to your field instead can make all the difference. Remember, it doesn't matter if the Bastilles stay in their hand as long as you kill them that turn. 3 copies of King of the Swamp, or as some people like to call it, Kit Kalos at home. Ugh, it brings me pain to say that. 2 copies of Diviner, my favorite normal summon, because it can send Agito, Kelbeck, Keldo, or Mudora. It's also great to mill it because we're able to reborn it with Cross Sheep. As usual, I am not playing any Shaddolls. Instead, I focus on turboing out Beatrice. To that end, I play 1 Denier and 2 Malicious. It's worth noting that these are also excellent extenders for link plays. I was able to streamline the Danger package down to 2 copies of Danger Nessie and 1 Danger Mothman. This allowed me to keep the deck count down to 40. Nessie is fantastic for obvious reasons. It's a dark aqua, which means it can help you make Garura, and it can help you make Kaleidoheart. A special shout out to the Nessie that got me out of a bricked hand at the final round of day 1 in the main event. I opened Denier, both Malicious, Trivi Karma, and Nessie. Started my turn by activating Nessie, and my opponent sniped the Trivi Karma out of my hand. It was fantastic. My eyes lit up when I saw that because it just got me rolling and I was able to win from there. Mothman is actually a really good card. I don't know why I was playing Tsuchinoko or Jackalope before this. Mothman is much better. If it's discarded, you can discard a card from your hand at choice, which gets Trivi Karmas, Sullyx, and Screams out of your hands as additional extension. And it's a level 4 body for Exceeds plays. And lastly, the spice of the tournament, 1 Cyberstein. This card is great because it can be brought out with Cross Sheep. And the way we turbo into this card is by sending it either off Sprined or Beatrice. It's worth noting that Cyberstein is also a very weird out to Arise Heart. If you normal summon Cyberstein, they have to banish it immediately, because if you activate its effect and it resolves, you can special summon Kaleido Heart from your extra deck and then immediately target the Arise Heart to shuffle it back into the deck. Not the prettiest out, but an out nonetheless. For my 3 non-engine slots, I'm playing 3 copies of Gamma Seal. I want non-engine that is a quick and easy out to Arise Heart and has the versatility of being used at least a little bit as an extender. By that I mean that because it's an aqua, it can be fused to make Kaleido Heart, and because it's a monster, it can be sent for Shiren, it can be sent for Crime, and it can be fused to make Guardian Chimera. As for the spells, I am playing 3 copies of Primeval Planet Perlarino, 1 Terraforming to search it. Now, I did cut Primeval Planet Rightsos from the list. While it is certainly nice to be able to search Fenrir, I don't think that that does enough on its own. 1 Poly to go along with the King of the Swamp, 1 Foolish, and 1 Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is not the card that it used to be now that Kid is banned, but it's still an additional extender, and it does get a fusion into the graveyard for a quick fusion summon of Stapelia. As for our Tearlament back row, I played 2 Scream, 2 Sulliek, 1 Meta Noise, and 1 Trivikarma. I'm very happy with these ratios, except for the Meta Noise. I think that in the future, I would rather play 1 Foolish Burial Goods instead of this Meta Noise. I believe the deck lacked just a little bit of consistency over the weekend. Trivikarma searches for any spell and trap that mentions Vice's Starfrost, most notably Primeval Planet Perlarino, but it can also search any of these cards as well. And it does it on a quick effect, which can actually allow you to dodge Droll sometimes, since you'll be able to use Trivikarma in response to your opponent drolling you and get your search that way. I did this against my Trap Tricks opponent during the top 4 of the Giant card, where I had a Trivikarma in my graveyard that they popped with Myrmilio on their turn, and when I opened my turn with Planet, they drolled me on Resolution, but I activated Trivikarma as a quick effect in response to the droll and searched the Scream that I needed to continue playing from there. Moving on to the extra deck, I'll start with the fusions. 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Garura, 1 Destiny Hero Dangerous. This card is fantastic. It is a discard outlet, and it is effectively a 1-card Beatrice, as it'll send Mali, which will give you another level 6 body. 1 Stapelia, 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Rule Kalos, 1 Kaleido Heart, 1 Grapha, and 1 Naturia Exterio. This card won me so many games, and every single time I summoned it, my opponent had to read it and make sure that I was not cheating. It's broken. Moreover, I had a lot of fun finding clever lines to get Stein into the graveyard, as well as trigger Cross Sheep on my own turn so that I could actually turbo out this card faster. I played 3 Exceeds, Beatrice, Dugaris, and Time Thief Redoer. Redoer and Beatrice need no introduction, but you might notice that I cut Zeus from the deck. In testing, I found that I just wasn't ever really making Zeus. And one of the reasons is because this deck lacks a good Zeus pilot. I was actually playing Zeus and Baguska, and I'm now playing Exterio and Dugaris. Dugaris came in as a substitute for Baguska. Baguska is... It's a good plan B, but it's not really that effective anymore. The reason is because when we think of decks that are going to shifter us, the most common one is going to be Kashtira. And they have an in-engine out to Baguska. So who really cares if you put them under Baguska? They're just going to attack over it with Scareclaw Kashtira anyway. I'd much rather have the additional extender. Then I played 3 links, Cross Sheep, Dark, and Sprined. Dark and Sprine need no introduction. Neither does Cross Sheep at this point if you've been following me along. Cross Sheep is fantastic. I am loving abusing this card. Some of the most fun I've had is finding creative lines to get into Cross Sheep's fusion effect to Reborn Stein. Now for the side deck, some choices really paid off, some choices not so much. Let's go over the hand traps that I played in the side deck. I played 3 Ash Blossom. This was primarily for the Brandon matchup and also for the Labyrinth matchup. I might have a bit of selection bias here because, frankly, I never saw this card against Branded, and Branded ended up giving me a lot of trouble at this event, which really surprised me because in testing, I was having a very easy time against Branded. Maybe if I had seen Ash more, I would have not had such a rough time against them. This card is also good against Labyrinth, but frankly, it's not really necessary. I did manage to Ash a Welcome Labyrinth once during top 8 of the Giant card, but it didn't matter. I was gonna win anyway. It's pretty easy for this deck to muscle through back row when it has Planet up. Next, 3 copies of Droll Lockbird. This card is fantastic. I saw a lot of people were maining it over the weekend. You definitely want to have Droll Lockbird at somewhere in your deck, whether it's in the main deck or in the side deck. It hits so many matchups. It hits Kashtira, it hits Branded, it hits any runic variant. It's awesome. Moreover, it stops FTKs like the Dark World FTK, and it hits decks like Drytron really hard. Speaking of Dark World FTKs and Drytron, 2 Magnamuts and 1 Druisworm. These are good against the aforementioned decks, but they're also good against Branded when they're trying to Expulsion Lock you. They're good against a Mirror if you should happen to come across it. And they're level 6 extenders, so they help you make Beatrice. 1 Crime for whenever I'm going first. 1 Called By for the same reason. 1 Harpies for back row removal. And for the last 2 slots, I couldn't really make up my mind. I knew I wanted to play either Evenly or Super Poly, and because I couldn't make up my mind, I played one of each. Maybe not the wisest choice, but it was alright. The 15th card in the side deck was Volcanic Scattershot. You know, one of my favorite things about playing this deck this weekend was its versatility. My turn 1 end board could literally look like this after a 12-minute combo. Exterio, Kaleidoheart, Beatrice, Rokalos, Grapha, Sulliek, Shufflers in the graveyard, Tearlament, Kashtira in hand. Boards like this just are unbreakable. But you could also play it a bit slower, play it a bit more mid, play it a bit more graveyard control, similar to how Ishizu Tearlament was before the ban list. So for example, against Drytron, you could literally end on a board of Beatrice, Sulliek, 2 Shufflers in grave, and Planet. And that's frankly all you need to end a Drytron player's turn. Tearlament has just consistently proven to be the most fun deck that I have ever played. And while I have tried other meta decks this format, none of them give me the same joy that playing Tearlament does. I don't know. There's just something about this deck that makes me not want to give up on it. So while I was not able to take it home this weekend, I'm going to continue building on the deck and seeing how far I can take it. My goal is to be the first person to win a YCS with Tearlament after Kit Kalos was banned. And that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.